Andy Buckley, TalkSport BBC, joins us. Andy, it all wraps up in the Champions League. Germany get 3 teams. Denmark, Holland and France and Portugal all 1 each. Spain get 4, Italy 3, England 2. So an exciting last round of competition. When you look at the teams that are through, the names that stand out to you, are they still the same? Are they still your Madrids, your Man Cities, your Bayern Munichs, maybe at Dortmund or maybe at Napoli, but those first 3 especially?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the big guns are there, aren't they? And Arsenal, I think you can add them to the mix as well. But Bayern Munich, watch the Bayern Munich game against Manchester United. They didn't even have to get out of first gear, let's face it, Bayern Munich. They were already through anyway, but they had 1 or 2 impressive players, I thought, Bayern Munich. They could be a force to be reckoned with this year in the Champions League. Real Madrid, I think with Jude Bellingham now pulling the strings in midfield, I think they're going to think that, 26 years in a row that they've qualified for the knockout phase, they're going to think that it's going to be their turn again, and who can blame them really after the success, the pedigree that they've got in this elite company. And Manchester City also through as expected, quite comfortably with a game to spare. Barcelona, nice to see them through to the knockout stages, the last 16, 3 seasons since they've been there, so they're also in the hat for the draw on Monday. But yeah, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Sociedad, Atletico, Dortmund, Manchester City and Barcelona top the groups. And of course, you can't play a team from your own country in the next phase. You play the second place team, so it narrows it down really for City and Arsenal. City can play Copenhagen, PSV, Napoli, Inter, Lazio, PSG or Porto. And then for Arsenal, it's Copenhagen, Napoli, Inter, Lazio, PSG and Leipzig. So yet again, as per last season, we've got plenty of Italian presence in the knockout phase. Of course, 2 teams, AC and Inter, got to the semi-finals, and we've got Lazio also in there as well, along with Napoli and Inter, who could play Manchester City. It could be a repeat of the last season's final in the last 16, but plenty of permutations.
Yeah, it's just, it's always, what it is, isn't it? I always say the points table never lies. Newcastle will be feeling very disappointed, obviously. At one stage they're at 1-0 up and PSG a goal down, they were through. But, in the end, they finished last as well, so they don't qualify for the Europa League. Your biggest disappointments, would Man United top that list?
Oh, just a bit, yeah. I watched the game against Bayern Munich. I just couldn't, I could believe it, really.
It was lame, Andy. Let's be honest about it. It was lame. It was toothless and lame, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They never laid a glove on Bayern Munich. And if you think back to all the epic Old Trafford European nights under the floodlights, and you think of Manchester United and Bayern Munich, 2 heavyweights, juggernauts of European football, and Bayern Munich is still dining at the top table. Manchester United, I should say, so far away from the elite, and it was symptomatic, really, of United's season. The atmosphere was flat. The fans never got going. The team never gave them anything, and the team are just incapable, really, of mounting a challenge and suggesting that they were capable of going through. And people like Anthony, £82 million signing, he's had 1 assist and no goals in his last 26 games. It's frightening.
So at the end of all of this, who's going to make the final in yours? So is it going to be Man City, and do they remain the team to beat given the fact they're the defending champs?
Good question and fair statement. City favourites, I suppose, as the holders, but as a Blue who's seen his side struggle in the last few weeks, we know that there's a vulnerability towards them in defence. Far more mistakes, giving the ball away, not done that in the past. So Pep has got his work cut out, really. If you think about it, I'm going to the City game against Crystal Palace at the weekend, and then City fly out to Saudi Arabia. 2 games in the Club World Cup in Saudi next week, and then the back for Everton on the 27th. They've got Sheffield United, and then it's the FA Cup. And obviously the Champions League picks up again in February and March. But question marks against City. But as I've said before, it's cup football. Who can tell? I think Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, to me, would be the 2 favourites. I think I'd put City in the mix. I'd even put Arsenal in the mix, to be honest with you. Never won the trophy, but I think Arsenal have got some sort of resilience about them. I think durability. So I think Arsenal, you'd have to say, would be there. I think Dortmund are probably quarter-finalists, semi-finalists. Atletico, likewise. Sociedad could fall at the last 16 stage. Barcelona, not really vintage Barcelona that we've seen in the past. So I think it's Bayern, City, Arsenal and Madrid for me.
As far as the Premier League goes, finally, it is a real race at the moment. I always think that, you ask this question at the 25 game stage. You ask it again when teams have played around 31, 32 and you've just got a handful left. And for me, it always comes down to the same thing. In January, whoever can kick on and win 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe even 14 games in a row. Man City have proved that they can do that year in, year out. Liverpool have done it a couple of times. But whoever the team is that strings that run together is going to get it. And legitimately Arsenal are in the mix as well. But do you agree? That's when we should really be looking at it and thinking, okay, now it's definitive.
Yeah, I think there are twists and turns to come. Points will be dropped. Such is the nature of the English Premier League programme that, especially over Christmas, it gets tough for these teams. I think, as I mentioned, City have got this added ingredient of the Club World Cup, so I think they're going to find it tough. And as a City fan, I'll be honest with you, I think my biggest fear is Liverpool. I think Liverpool will go very close this season. I just think they've got something about them that they hadn't had last season. But I think Liverpool are the team to beat, and I think Arsenal are very much in the mix as well. But yeah, it's the team, as you say, that puts together that consistent run. And Pep Guardiola would turn around and say, if City don't win the league, then they're considered as failures. That's the thing. If nobody else wins it, then it's not a failure for them because City are expected to win it. But guess what? No team has ever won it 4 seasons in a row. So they're asking to do something that's never been done before, which I believe is possibly why City won't do it. I just don't think that they've got the quality that they've had in the past, which does leave the door open for the others. And I think if you said to me which team's going to win it, I'd say Liverpool.
Devlin.
Yes! Yes! Can they do it?
The platform.